So now we are moving into the panel, and today we have a panel around NFT London. And the idea for this panel was coming from all the noise and all the attention that was happening after the event. And I'm not sure if you were watching what unleashed in social media. Mainly a couple of pictures, a couple of tweets were enough to start a long thread of different complaints and feedback and whatnot. And I felt that we should support the conference, and I thought picking the theme for this event for giving support to NFT London was a good thing. They are speakers, or they were speakers, or they contributed to NFT London, or were at the events that happened during that week. And I think that was great. It was awesome. We got a lot of talent coming to the city, and I think it was great. And I felt a little bit bad that there were a lot of bad feedback or attacks. I don't know how to phrase it. But before we go into the panel, I really forgot that we have a new team member. And we had Mike hosting this event for a couple of times. But now, in between the last event in September and this event today, we had Anna joining the team. I cannot see Anna. Maybe you want to introduce yourself and explain a little bit what is. Yes.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Anna. I'm really happy to join your team, guys, to Web3 London, because I think I join every event, and I really love the whole vibe, the whole atmosphere, and this crowd. I'm really glad to be surrounded by such a wonderful people who supported me every time. So yeah, so see you on Twitter, guys. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, thank you, Anna. I completely forgot. That's terrible. So now that we got that, I think we can start with a round of introductions, and any of you can go first. So there's no set order.
I go. Hi, everyone. I'm Marco. I'm the CTO of the Fabricant. The Fabricant is one of the, let's say, leading digital fashion companies. This actually was the first one. They, in 2019, minted the first digital fashion item as an NFT on Ethereum. Back of the time of media was super interested on that scenario, on the possibility. And when I was in my previous company, I look at what happened. I say, what the fuck? I want to work for them. Actually, a few years later happens, of course, the lucky situation to join the team. And since then, we are working now more than 1 year out on a product. Today is a platform for co-creation and trading of digital fashion.
Excellent, thank you.
Hi everyone, Vishaal. So amongst several ventures, I'm the co-founder of Arcade Apes. We're the world's first Bored Ape bar. We're based in Victoria at the moment. It's kind of 3 elements to it. First part is being a hub for anyone in crypto and NFTs. So we basically provide space for NFT and crypto projects to take out an area to give back to the community so people can meet each other, but then also host certain nights where we have multiple NFT communities where you're able to actually not only meet people in yours, but also understand what other people are doing, what other projects are about, what sort of people are in the community, things like that. And the second element is anyone can actually book online. You can come, you have your own area, your own arcade machine, your own drinking games, board games. And then also we have artwork curated around the venue. So we have screens with NFTs on it. We also have some physical pieces as well. And I've met a lot of artists here, which brings to the third point, which is the artwork that we have is curated by a guy called Adam, who's our art curator, and we don't discriminate. We don't only have artwork from people that have 5 million followers, but even if you have 5, you can submit you know, a request or just submit your artwork, and we go through everything. And we don't look at followers. We don't care. It's all about the artwork and giving people a space where they can actually have it on screen so everybody can see it. And it's just amazing to see people's faces and they come in and they see the artwork actually in a real venue. So there's kind of those 3 elements about it. And we obviously run a lot of events.
Yeah, I think you are missing the most important point, and is that you run the most popular satellite party during NFT London, I think.
Yes. So, well, I think there's only about 5 people that put their hand up for NFT London, but we hosted 13 NFT communities, probably at least 50% of the satellite events. So we had Bored Ape Yacht Club, CryptoPunks, World of Women, V-Friends, Cyberbrokers. I mean, the list goes on. But yeah, it was maybe being a little modest about that one. But yeah, we held a lot of events from brunches and parties and get-togethers. So yeah, it was
excellent. I think it's something that people want to know from your project.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for having me here. My name is Lord Truffington. I am an entrepreneur. I am an art NFT collector and curator. And I am also a photographer who has very recently started to mint his own art on Super Rare. My background, however, is completely different. As far as the artistic world as possible, I was actually an investment banker, worked in hedge funds in London, New York for over 10 years, then became an entrepreneur, had my own tech startup for about 6 years. And at the end of 2020, with COVID and everything, I decided to take a break. And during this break, I read an article about NBA Top Shots and these things called non-fungible tokens. And from that point on, I fell headfirst into the rabbit hole and basically never came out of it. And I've become incredibly passionate about this space, NFT, about Web3, about how this is going to change, for sure, our lives. The way we interact with other people, the way we interact with brands, with communities, with internet. It's really the beginning of a revolution. And I'm not just talking about the PFP projects. I'm just talking about how NFTs as an application of the blockchain is something that will be applied to absolutely everything that we know. And I just fell in love with this. And from that point on, I never looked back. And I've built this Lord Truffington brand, primarily on Twitter. And through that, I've tried always every day to help the community, to help people outside of the community to join us, whether it's as a speculator in buying some PFP projects, as an art lover coming in and exploring the digital art side of things, of the art space. And yeah, I've been trying to every day to just continue to grow this community in this amazing world.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your interest. Someone was asking me if we were going to see your faces, because of course, when you are on social media, there's only avatars, and I think
but it's not these faces. You know?
Yeah,
It's not the real.
yeah. Well, you look a little bit
Yeah.
like
I
like
look like my ape.
your
He's got
profile.
a microphone in there. Somebody's telling him what to say. He's just the front.
He's an actor. Very good, very good. Maybe an actor. No, though they are the real deal. And okay, so let's start with some questions around events. And I think that's probably a good start. So when you are looking at different events that happen in London, how you decide if you are going to join the event or not? Like, what is your criteria?
Oh, how close is from home? Yeah.
Free drinks.
In London is something that you always need to
Location.
consider. Location is important. No, yeah, definitely the people involved. So if I know already about other people that are going there, and not people attending, but people speaking, people involved in the organization. That's the main thing. You were talking about food. No, food. I try always to come after I have some food at home, just to be sure. That I never have any expectation of food.
I make the rookie mistake and end up starving till 1 a.m.
That's the situation that happens, because you always expect, okay, great speaking, great panel, where is the food at the end?
That's I'm Spanish, and I guess if you are Spanish or Italian, or depending on your origin, you will be scared about catering at a conference. But that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Any other?
Well, you know, I've been in the space since the beginning of 2021, and that was just basically as well here in the UK, where we're still in the second lockdown. So we were coming from a terrible year of COVID. And I think this, in a way, helped this world to develop very much as an online community. Was, you know, Alexander was talking about Clubhouse, and then it was Twitter Spaces, etc. And everything is always great. But then when the world opened up again and we were able to go and attend physical events, I went to NYC New York, NFT NYC back in 2021. In the winter, it just opened up a completely new world, because you interact with a lot of people every single day online. And then you go there and you put a face, as we were saying, you put a face to an avatar or to a name, and all of a sudden the relationship kind of shifts gears. And I think it becomes a lot more real and something that you want to engage a lot more with. So I do try to attend as many events as I can, especially if they are in my city. And so I try. Obviously, you can't do everything, but conferences like NFT London were, I think, were amazing to exactly help foster those relationships.
So
Okay.
On that, so my background is consulting and investment banking. So it was always around going to events, and it can get tiring if you're constantly out and meeting people. And it's great, and we're social beings. We love to meet other people, but it can get tiring, and it's the energy exchange. So there's a few things I learned. Is just being as intentional as you can around the events that you go to, especially in Web3. Now, even tonight, I think there's at least another 3 going on in London. There are constantly so many. So it's just be intentional about what it is that you're after. What is it that you're doing? Is there certain type of people you're trying to meet? Are you trying to meet investors or artists, photographers, developers? What is it? And then also kind of being intentional around what is it? And I'm trying not to make it transactional, but what is it you want to walk away with? Do you want to walk away having met other artists? And then just be very curious, constantly asking questions, and constantly at events where people spend a lot of time talking about themselves, and that's great, but it's also being curious about the other person, find out what they're doing, because that's the whole purpose of being there, is not to make it about yourself, but actually find out what others are doing as well. And then actually the biggest one is just following up. So many people say, yeah, we'll be in touch, and then never hear from them again. It's like, we just spent the last hour talking. Why did we spend the last hour talking if we're not actually doing anything, if we're not going to speak again? So it's just being a bit, I don't know, almost like respectful of your own time, in a sense of just, again, trying not to make it so like transactional and corporate-y. It's just around just that slight intention there. And obviously, if you just got a night where you don't have anything going on, there's something cool happening, then yeah, obviously joy.
And then going into the event, what kind of activities you prefer? Like attending the talks, talking to the sponsors, networking parties? I mean, I'm sure you will be on the party side, but you have any preference? Like maybe you go to the event and go straight to the talks, or maybe go straight to the parties. What is that you do personally? How you take advantage of the event?
I can give you my experience at this last event, NFT London. I was fortunate enough to have my talk early on the first day, and like about 10 a.m. And so I went there, I did my talk, and for the rest of the day, most of the day, I actually spent in the hall, in the corridors, talking to people. Fortunately, a lot of people that already met in other events, they came and I could rekindle, reconnect with them, but also meeting a lot of new people was exhausting, absolutely exhausting. I mean, I actually got COVID after the event. So I did the whole week of that event inside the event, and then I collapsed and I got COVID. But which is fine. But it's the point was that I was there to connect, to network with people, and that for me, that was the main point of interest of the conference.
Funnily enough, mine's actually not party. Even though we held a lot of the parties, it's actually not that. I actually quite like more.
So how was the experience for you?
It was overwhelming, but it was amazing to see communities actually meeting in real life that I've never met before. Like I said, we had the World Women, V-Friends, all these communities that had spent so much time on Discord and Twitter.
Any behaviors from these different groups that
I don't know who it was, but somebody
your
stole
eye?
our big skull, and I kind of want that back. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
On the bar.
I don't know where it's gone.
Okay.
We had a couple of skulls, but anyway. That aside,
I thought that someone should have done that.
I saw something on Twitter where it was broken in half on the floor on a train platform, which is quite upsetting. But no, I think so. Thinking about it, so each community kind of had their own space where they would speak to each other, and that's great. But what was even better is because we had the arcade games and things like that out and board games, people would step out of their area and play with other people. So it's then actually cross-community interaction and actually understanding what other NFT projects are about. You know, what are the communities like? What does people like? What potential utilities are there? So there was this whole collaboration across them. So it was really cool to see that. And obviously the artists coming in, seeing their art on these walls and on the screens is just like, see their face light up and like, shit, my actual art is somewhere. Everybody's looking at it. There's $4 million Bored Apes up here, but yet my art is here as well. So from that perspective, that was cool. But otherwise, I thought like more intimate sort of things where you can actually get to know people and spend a fair bit of time. Just a firm believer of quality over quantity.
I think we are missing your experience.
Yeah, networking event for sure. I mean, I enjoy way more than, actually the conference I didn't attend at all. So just because.
So that's why it was empty, because a lot of people were not at the talks.
That's for the Bored Ape brunch, it's about 350 people.
But that's the thing.
What? How many people?
We had about 350 people on the Thursday during the day.
Yeah.
We
350,
ape
okay.
brunch, and there were a lot of people. Not sure if you guys joined, but
And I had another event, so I could attend that. I know. But that's the thing, that network events really are the heart of this community. They really translate everything that this community are into an event in the same place. Because I think what I see, I saw that also NFT New York. They are still too much Web2 in the way how they are organized. They are still like with this talk, with infinite number of speakers, with that kind of big halls where everyone got lost. Also, the organization also in New York was a bit not the best. So I also this booth where you have always this kind of old-fashioned interaction where actually there are places like the arcade or all the other events. I mentioned just a couple of them. A vertical crypto art event was amazing. I was in the panel. All the panels were super high quality. Everyone just interested to be there. Not like, oh, I casually pop
Yeah,
up
this
here
is something interesting because some people were complaining about the price of the ticket and that they couldn't maybe enjoy the event, but actually there were almost 100 satellite events that were all for free. And these were nice events. And most of the times, the same people that were supposed to be at the conference were out and about and all these other events that, of course, were happening because there was NFT London. So NFT London kind of brought a lot of things, good things happening, maybe too many things happening in the space of 1 week. And we all got a little bit hangover after that. But yeah, I mean, these are all fair points. Would you actually, now that you have, there's maybe a couple of weeks or a few weeks after the event, and that you have follow up or not with the people that you reach out during that week. Do you think that was, after all, there was a positive exchange by having NFT London, or what do you think? What's the balance after the event? It was a positive balance. It was negative balance. What is your overall feedback?
I'll be honest. From my perspective, all the people I've spoken to just spoke about the events at Arcade Apes because they were there, and because that's me. It's the feedback. It's the feedback they gave. It was just that. My business partner, I managed to get to the conference, I think, on the Friday for a couple of hours. Okay. It was, I think, fairly quiet at that point, but there was still like interaction. There was still going around to the different stalls and interacting. Didn't actually make any of the talks because we were only there. We had to kind of run back. But you mentioned the satellite events, and I think at least NFT London, like it had the talks, but then also it's because of that, it brought people from all over the world. So without NFT London happening, the satellite events wouldn't have happened anyway. So I think there are positives from it, that being at least one of them.
I think it's easy to criticize NFT London, NFT New York, but honestly, they make an amazing job on bringing everyone together on the same place. And yes, probably the ticket is too high, but honestly, there are hundreds of speakers that they are going there for free just because they speak. So I think it's easy to criticize them for all these different reasons, but at the same time, they are contributing in their own way. The problem is not still ideal, but they are doing in a way that
early days. We don't need to focus only on positives. I mean, if you have something to criticize, I mean, we take also critics. I mean, constructive criticism.
Look, it just happened that tomorrow I have a breakfast and a lunch with different people that I met at the event, to talk about potential creation of something in another project. So for me, absolutely very helpful from a business standpoint, from a connection network standpoint. I've been to a few of other events, not just here or in New York, and there are always some pros and cons. Obviously, the ticket in itself of the conference is quite high, and whenever I was a speaker this time, so I didn't have to pay. In the past, I have paid full price to go to the events. I probably wouldn't necessarily recommend people to pay the event, but to pay for the actual conference, but be there where the conference is, because there are a million other opportunities. Like I was a speaker, I had a solo talk and I had a panel at the conference. And then I had another panel the day after, not in the conference, in another event called Intersect, with Misan Harriman, that I thought was absolutely amazing panel, amazing quality despite me. There were other speakers that were incredible. And and I thought that probably was better than most of the stuff that was at the actual conference. So it's not really just about the ticket. It's about, identify even the people that you want to listen to and see that you'll be able to basically catch them somewhere else for sure.
And let's go back to your contribution during the event. Like what was, for example, you talk about a session and a panel. Can you give a little bit more information about what was that session about?
Yes, so my solo talk was about how to build a brand in NFTs, which was a mini how to Twitter, and basically a little bit from my own experience. Then the panel was a little bit random because we hadn't really prepared it. It was more, I was just put on a panel. The panel the day after was around, we spoke about crypto art and how the world is changing. Brave New World was the title of the panel, so how that is changing. And then in terms of events, me and someone else organized a photo walk for the day after, and then we ended up at Arcade Apes, and we organized around the London Eye and the South Bank with some photographers, and it was actually there, two of the organizers are there, and it was amazing because during the conference you meet people and say, why don't you join us in our nice photo walk? And that's the beauty of these events.
Excellent. What about you, Marco?
Apart not attending the main conference, yeah, I've been at the panel that was organized by Vertical Crypto Art about digital fashion, hosted by Hollywood. It was really nice, many people there. Then we organized on Friday a digital fashion breakfast in Victoria. It was amazing. And the catering was good. So
Tell us a little bit more details. What was in that awesome breakfast?
Yeah, it was good because I love when you bring people that are kind of a family. So it was really the digital fashion community. It's still small. It's not that big as, say, NFTs. Also, it's not even just NFT, but there are also people that come from digital world. They are not actually in blockchain NFT at all. And it was a good mix of people from traditional fashion. Really, there were a few brands, traditional fashion, luxury brands, plus NFT people, artists, creative, fashion designers. And we organized together with DressX, so the Fabricant DressX together.
You got me confused. You're talking about content. I was thinking about food.
The food, it was good. Oh, you want? Oh, yeah. The food was.
So
good.
what was that breakfast? It was like an afternoon tea, or was cakes?
It was pastry. I mean, croissant, coffee. No, okay, no flat white because in West London there are no flat white. They are good.
Okay,
Trust
okay.
me, you can find. So if it was in East London, yeah, probably, but not in West London. So coffee was okay.
Okay, so
But
you are also
everything else,
barista.
fruits, yogurt, all that kind of stuff was nice.
Very good, very good. Okay, I think we covered mostly everything about the event, a little bit of your contributions to NFT London, and I think maybe we can move into, do you plan to attend NFT NYC or any future NFT London events? What is your recommendation about that? Do you think that you would join?
I think I will follow is a suggestion. I think it's not important to go to the main conference at cost, but the place, the situation there is thinking.
We'll be having Arcade Apes at all of them, so you can just come there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, there you go. We'll give everyone. We're giving
them.
everyone a home. You can come for free.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Okay. And what do you think about being a speaker? Because of course, if you are an attendee and maybe you have to pay for the ticket, maybe that's a different experience. But being a speaker, maybe that's another option to attend.
I mean, the main benefit of being a speaker is that you get the free ticket for the conference. And it's no, not the guest. No, there was something they did in the one morning where they gave some free tickets, but no, you get one ticket, and that's actually, it's very helpful. Now, so I would definitely recommend to try to apply. And there is, as we said, they take a lot of people. They take a lot more people than they actually need as speakers, and then they package them in various panels if there are too many that they've accepted, but you still get entry to the conference. And maybe because of this, one criticism that I had in almost every conference that I've been is that the talks tend to be not as exciting as one might expect. Very often they tend to be incredibly basic. So and by basic, I don't mean this as a criticism. I just mean that they are for beginners. So if you know already something about the industry, it might not be as interesting to attend. Because either people are just applying as a speaker for the ticket, they're not necessarily very thought through. So I always found that some of the talks were a bit underwhelming.
Yeah, curation is not that great.
I think it could be a challenge.
Looking at who the speakers are, seeing what brands are there. Then once you see the speaker, go on LinkedIn, see what they're about, see what sort of conversations are happening. It's still worth, you still meet valuable people. I have, I'm pretty sure you have as well. So if you can afford it, then go. If you can have something you can talk about, something to share, then go and apply. If you can't afford it, then be somewhere nearby. So at least be involved in some way that you can, rather than just kind of disregarding.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your thoughts. And I think we have some time for questions. And maybe you want to ask a question to our guests. We have a microphone. So if you want to ask a question, just raise your hand and we will take a few questions. There's one here.
Hey, hello. Hi. Just wanted to ask then about, the main conference being, that supposedly we're educating people about the future and the potential of this technology. Haven't really heard much about like lessons learned when you've walked away from the event with, and perhaps because so few people were in the audience, there was less impetus to go to these talks. But were there lessons you took away? Was the content valuable from any of the speakers?
So I feel like I'm the only one that spent some physical time at the conference. However, as I mentioned, I did my talk and then I was out in the corridors in the main hall, basically networking. So I have not really listened to other talks. Now, no, but this goes back to the point I just made. I went to NFT New York. I went to NFT Lisbon. And it's so like you tend to hear pretty much always the same things, and it's less. I think there is a less value in spending 3 hours listening to talks rather than being out there talking to people that you maybe are already interested to connect with. So that's my view. Again, I've been full time for almost 2 years in this space, and when I say full time, I mean like 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like this is not like a job that, at 5 o'clock it's finished, the day is finished. I mean, I'm on Twitter any time of the day and the night or talking to people. So it's like it feels, you probably all know, 2 years feel like 20 in a normal world, no IRL. So I felt I had a lot less interest in using my time listening to people that would tend probably to cater to the audience that is maybe less experienced.
Yeah, fair point. Any other questions?
If you swallow it.
Get it close. Get it close.
If you thought NFT London could be improved, how would each of you improve it if you was asked to advise?
So, no, go.
Yeah, take the question.
I wasn't even about to answer it, but I guess I will now. I've pretty much put myself out there. I mean, like I said before, I wasn't able to spend too much time there. I think, based on what you said on the level of, let's say, expertise, there's no such thing as expert in this space, FYI. But I think if you're new to the space, then it makes sense. You're listening to people. I think it's a good place to onboard people from the Web 2 world to the Web 3 world. I think if you're after more, I mean, if you're a developer, for example, you go to DevCon, this goes back to the intention that I said at the beginning of when you're looking at which event to go to is, what's your intention? What is it you're trying to achieve? What do you want to learn? I think if you are trying to learn kind of broad things around NFTs and you're depending on your level of knowledge, then maybe the conference is, it's a good place at the moment. The thing is, it makes sense if you think we're still really early on. So there is no expert in this space. So we're so early on. Right now, I think it is just getting mass adoption, getting people to understand what are NFTs, how do you use it, how can creators benefit from it, all these different characteristics, which is a lot of what the talks were about, right?
Look, ultimately, it is because we are early. So a big event like this tend to cater for everybody. the reality is that you cannot be everything for everyone. So either you go in more specific directions and you create something that is really a bridge from Web 2 to Web 3 to get as many normies or people that are not, I don't want to use, I know that nowadays it's got a bit of a negative connotation, but people that are not in our space, to actually onboard them. And then you have to cater to those people and create a sort of different type of conference. Or for people that are a lot more experienced, then it would be a different, again, type of conference. This one tends to be a bit of everything, and I think that gets less interesting. Also, the price is steep. I think this was £400 or £500. It's quite steep. And you actually end up having even people that want to learn about NFTs are not going to invest £500 up front if they don't really have a reason to be there. So it kind of becomes counterproductive. So either focus a little bit more, or if you want to have something at that level with that kind of price range, then focus on curation a little bit more, curation of the talks, etc. Final thing that I'd like to add, I didn't see that room with those awful screens where the art was shown. Fortunately, I wouldn't have been very happy. However, I didn't even care that much. I didn't go there to see art. However, crypto art is a big part of the NFT community today. It's actually, whenever there is a new technology, the thing that gets adopted first is the easiest thing to understand. And NFTs have given a way to package and sell digital art. So it's very easy to understand what is a JPEG, what is a digital artwork in an NFT. That's why it was the first thing that became very popular. Now, because of that, they could have spent a bit more focus and time in curating something really nice. Like, it doesn't take, you don't have to spend £10 million to do that. You could have done something nicer with,
But I think, the curation is, again, what, topping up on this, what they are missing, because I make a comparison, for example, with the computer graphics conference, where all the big ones like Pixar, Microsoft, they go and present a new interactive experience. They, like SIGGRAPH, for example, they are 30 years old conference where you go there and there is entertainment there. It's not like they are talks, really deep, super difficult and complex talk about progress in computer graphics. And again, we are able to see a premiere about animation from Pixar there. So I think here we are lacking this entertainment area where actually living outside. So the side event do entertainment, while the main conference are super boring, monotone series of talk without any real engagement apart what we do when we go there and create a networking, because it's the only entertainment that you can find there. Otherwise, it's just a few stickers, a kind of really screens put to somewhere. They are actually, honestly, are insulting of the art and the quality of what they do. Where the actually conference with a lot of experience, where whatever you present something has to be huge, has to be amazing, and that's things that we are still hearing on that.
Do you know what, on the curation side, they are trying to give people an opportunity to go up and speak, right? So there's a positive there, but then obviously it can then be seen as, okay, these conversations are basic, or they're boring, or they're monotone, because they've not been up there, they've not been trial and tested, we don't know who they are. So it's almost like the double-edged sword there is they want to give as many people the opportunity to go up and talk about what they're working on, what they're doing, because we're so early on, and you never know who, even if the person with the biggest monotone they could have like the best idea. They could be so intelligent, so there's that. And then also just one last thing is on the numbers. So there's a lot of criticism on the numbers versus New York being quite busy versus here. What people have to recognize is that the last time I checked, the number of Google searches of NFTs in New York was about 120,000 a month. In London, it's about 10. In the UK, it's about 10,000 a month. So there is, there's still that to be kind of taken on board with the numbers and how busy it was or not busy.
Yeah, I think from what you have shared, I think it will be fair to bring some positive or quality content. Today we had 2 speakers from NFT London, and I think the quality of the talks were great. So of course, when you are looking at more than 800 speakers and talks, it's easy to pick the bottom of the barrel, but there's also the top of the barrel, and this will be a mix back. It's not going to be all stars, and it's not going to be all terrible. But yeah, I think we covered most of the things that we wanted to show you, and we are going to go for a small closing remarks. So if you have any, this is the time.
Oh, go for it.
Well, I
know.
So until about a year ago, I think there was almost nothing IRL in London. It felt, I went in, so as I said, beginning of November 2021, I went to NFT New York, and I was like, wow, there is so much in New York happening. Like communities were already, they knew each other, they were already meeting. And I'm like, why don't we have anything at all in London? Because there was really nothing here. I think we have come such a long way in only 12 months. The number of events, the quality of events, the strength of the community, how much more we are congregating, networking, and this is absolutely amazing. I mean, it's probably the thing I'm most excited about. It's really seeing London coming together, Europe in general, but especially London, coming together and say, hey, we're here to stay. We're a very strong community with a lot of incredibly talented people. And that's, again, I think it's amazing. However, it does depend on us. Like everyone and each and every one of us needs to make the effort to get together with other people, to network, to help other people, maybe they're in London, to connect with someone they're interested in. It really just depends on us. And so it's in our hands, and I hope that next year we'll be here and we will have 500 people or 1,000 people, and they will need to book, I don't know, what kind of venue every single time there is an event, because so many people want to come.
Excellent, thank you.
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious I'm going to talk about Arcade Apes, right? It's pretty
no
obvious.
way.
I mean, again, what we're doing is we're recognizing that there weren't many events organized. We recognize there isn't a hub or a space, and that's exactly what we're creating. It's a place that everybody knows, even during the conferences or outsiders, okay, I want to go meet other people in this space, or just host your own communities. You know, if you're setting up an NFT project, you want everyone to meet, we want to give back. With basically going, we are that hub. That's what we did during NFT London, and we proved that it works and that people actually want it. We'll be doing it in London, and we're already in conversations about Miami, New York, LA, Vegas, really, and Chicago. And then also we've even had people in Tokyo saying, actually, do you know what? We want to bring this here. So what we're creating really is, and I'm trying not to tell this too much, although I kind of am, but it is the hub, right? So it's, you know, come here and we have these kind of panel discussions. And we were even speaking earlier, then maybe go over there because it's another space. And especially for people creating art, I mean, reach out to us. Our Twitter is Arcade Apes, but just reach out if you want your artwork put on the screens and have it in a real life location where people can see it and get exposure. Then reach out, because we really want to give back to the communities, to the projects, to be able to give to the communities, and also people creating artwork. So,
excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining as well.
Thanks.
I like the networking effect. I don't want to be too much focused on London, despite the fact that I live here. I think the greatest things on this community is the fact that it's everywhere, and I like the fact that multiple different cities, different people from different cities, they really connect easily on that. I think it's way more important that, of course, try to defend our areas, because honestly, between Paris, London, Amsterdam, New York, I don't care much where the people are from. Of course, it's important that we create in real life quality events. So it's good actually that from New York they came here, but there are super strong community here. I like the NFT UK, your meetup. There are many really people that are making a difference. And actually, there are really a few people because NFT UK just one, two person that they are organizing that. Yours, I don't think you have, again, also a big team. And that's the greatest things is the passion of everyone around the world organizing events for everyone else, and not like just for that close area, but also for engaging and really inviting people from anywhere, because and London should always be that as well.
Okay, that's all. I think we have finished a round panel. Started with a casual conversation, then we went all places, to all places. Very good. Thank you for joining the panel. Now, if this is the first time that you have joined us, we are moving to another venue. And over there, we run the after party. We curated 9 local and international NFT artists just for you. And this is the time to network and continue the conversation. So if you have any questions, we will be there hanging out, and you are more than welcome to come. So now we are all gonna move there. It's maybe 5 minutes away. If you want to join, join. And otherwise, thank you for joining today, and see you the next year.
Yeah.